welcome everyone to the 7th episode of the Boss Key podcast. I am your co-host Josh, also known as McQuack306.
Good morning.
Joined here as always with Jesse. Hello, Jesse.
Morning, everybody, or afternoon, or night, whatever time you're listening to this podcast. How's it going, everybody? Yes, this is Jesse Vergoso, at Twitter handle again, Jesse_Vergoso, or handle on PSN so far, Jebby G.
Jebby G. How you been, man? It's a good week.
Oh my goodness, it is a very good week. It is a fantastic week this week.
Today we'll be talking about a specific rumor that's making its rounds on the interwebs.
I swear, when you sent this to me, I exploded in my office. It was a huge rumor. I was like, "Are you for reals? Are you for reals right now? It's gonna happen?"
It's a rumor that I saw, and I'm like, okay, this is the next. This is our next show. This is our next show topic, and
immediately, we didn't even second guess it.
we were already talking about what we were gonna say, talk about our list and stuff like that. But before we start off with that, what are you playing, Jesse?
Oh well, I am playing this very popular game right now. It's called The Waiting Game.
The Waiting Game.
I am waiting because the other reason why this week is fantastic is dun 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 dun. I have finally joined the 9th generation of console.
Oh, which one did you get?
I got me an Xbox Series X.
Oh, wow. When did you get it?
I got it on Tuesday. I ordered it. And thanks to your cousin, actually, he hooked it up. He let me know. He kept forwarding a message on Twitter. Then you were mentioning also during the week the different offers, but it was mentioned. Josh sent me a tweet from Wario64. That's his Twitter handle, right? The one who does the sales.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
him too.
so yeah. We have him. So he pulled it up, and it was one where you have to sign up with a credit card offer, the all access.
Okay, that's the one I got.
Yeah, that's the one you got. So I decided to take the plunge, and I am awaiting for my console. Supposedly it's supposed to come on Monday. We're recording this on a Saturday, but it's coming on the Monday coming up, and I am stoked. Which is also why this is also a fantastic week again.
Oh, I'm excited for you, man. What's gonna be the first game you play?
Oh my god, I know this is gonna be, of course, this is gonna be like the retro of me, but I actually cannot wait to go to the Rare Replay for now and go into those classic games again that are on the Rare Replay, like Perfect Dark and the different Banjo series, and I'm gonna try to go back to Gears, and I'm actually just excited for those games. Of course, I'm waiting for Halo. I'm waiting to get all the awesome features that come with the Series X that everyone talks about. About the instant loading, the very fast load times. My PS4 is now considered slow compared to the new console, and I'm finally gonna have a 4K player. Now I just need a 4K TV to go with it, but I'm gonna use my monitor. But right now I'm just very excited for my new console that I've been waiting a long time, and I finally got one at a price point that I can get, and I got 2 years of Game Pass, so let's get ready. Oh, I'm gonna play every Fallout game because apparently they're all on Game Pass,
and they're all good.
Yes,
I don't care what anybody says. Those Fallout games are why I love them so much. Whether it's Fallout 3, New Vegas, 4, even Fallout 76, it's better now. But
nice.
I love the Fallout games. A post-apocalyptic, what is it, like 1940s, 1950s era type of aesthetics. Love it. Love the music. Love the campiness.
Yes, and I'm going to be playing Fallout 4 for the first time on that one, and I'm just very excited for my new console. So basically on my PC side of things, I've just been playing a little bit more Yu-Gi-Oh from before again, and a little bit more of my shooters again. I bought Dead Space, which I'm going to be playing during the month of October finally, and Yeah, that's all that I've been playing so far. But it's been a little bit, the schedule's a little bit more hectic this week. So right now it's more of, like I said, the waiting game. Cannot wait for my new console. What do you play, Big Josh?
Two recent releases that I've been playing. One of them is Tales of Arise. It came
Okay.
out last week, about 8 days ago. JRPG from
Mhm.
Namco Bandai. Really great game. Really, like, I love the aesthetics of it. It's like watercolor type of look. Good combat. A lot of flashy combos that I like
Mhm.
seeing in games, especially when I know how to do them. Instead of just
Right.
button smashing and stuff like that. It's really good. That one I'm about maybe 3 4 hours in. I beat the first boss, and
Nice.
it's good. I like where it's headed. The second game that I dived into a bit is the recent released Death Loop. You may have heard of it, the
Deathloop.
one you were
Yeah.
all excited about, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, I'll say, and I was actually very. I saw that you ended up getting it from Twitter, and I'm wondering. So how's your opinion been on it? What do you think?
So far, I'm like an hour, 2 hours in, and it's pretty good. I mean, if you've played an Arcane Studios game like what is it, Dishonored, it has a lot of that Dishonored feel to it. It's in first person mode. You don't see your character. It's first person stealth type of game. You have a knife. You have multiple types of guns that you can pick up. Um, and so far it's weird. It's a groundhog type of if you've seen the movie Groundhog Day, where every
Bill
single
Murray.
yeah, if you keep when you die you start over the next day, and it's like everything resets. So you're trying to break the loop, death loop, as the title suggests. Um,
Nice.
it's really cool. It's really pretty quick. I'm, as you know, Metal Gear Solid fan. I like stealth, and I like how they're doing the stealth in this one. I mean, it's not doing anything new
Mhm.
that any other game has done before it, like Dishonored, but the mechanics are there. The mechanics are smooth. The AI, it's kind of finicky at times from what I've noticed. Uh, you can be like right in front of them, and sometimes it takes a while for them to notice you. So I don't know what's up with that, but I like I mean, I need more time with it. But so far, my first hour or two, it's a good experience.
Nice. So the AI is like kind of wonky, you said. So like they're right in front of you and they're blind. Like they can't even see you. Like what the
Yeah,
heck?
I'm not even like hidden.
I'm not even popping smoke or anything. I'm just here.
Yeah,
Like I'm right in front of you.
I'll hit my knife on a rock, and they'll be like, "Huh? What was that?" And I'm like, "I'm right in front of you."
Like, sir, I'm right here. Just say like AI needs a little work, guys. We need a little patch, please. To make it seem remember, guys, I'm right here. I'm player. I'm not NPC. I'm not free guy here. I'm not an NPC.
So that's
Nice.
that's that's what I've been playing, and
There we go. I hope to update this next week when I'm Series X'd out.
yes,
That'll be, I'm gonna set up I already got the perfect spot and everything. I'm not gonna put it on its side. I'm gonna have it up and down, and I'm actually really excited for the quick loading features. And if it's
quick
solid state
resume.
drive, quick resume, and solid state drives. Oh my God, they changed the world as far as loading times and everything. Solid state drives is the way to go, as it always should be.
Yeah, but to talk about a time where we really didn't have any loading back in the day when we were playing. The new rumor going around, which is why we have the biggest topic for today, is about Nintendo 64 joining the library of Nintendo Switch Online.
Oh
Uh,
my God,
what did you hear
yes.
about it, Jesse?
Oh no, I heard it about it. No, I heard about it from you when I saw you post it up on Twitter. You posted up the tweet about the rumor,
Yeah.
and oh my goodness, when I saw that, I was like, finally! It's
So
like final. It's like the wrestling back in the day. Finally, The Rock has come back. to Los Angeles. To me, I know it maybe if I've said it on the podcast before or not, but N64 is my childhood slash best console of my life. So good, so many games, and it impacted a lot of my lifestyle. So when this came out, I think this is going to be a big console for everyone around our age group. That's going to be like, whoa, like it's going to be like everyone's going to have a remembrance of this one. I think.
Yeah, and the recent rumor is that Nintendo Switch or Nintendo the company will be adding Nintendo 64 titles starting sometime in September with a price increase or a different tier for adding this N64 catalog. It's rumored to be about $5 to $15 more. I mean, Nintendo Switch Online right now is currently like about $20, I think. Uh,
Right, for the year, 20 bucks for the year.
yeah, $20 for the year, which is already a fantastic deal, and I believe it's like 30 or 35 for a family plan,
Hmm.
where you can get
Okay.
up to 5 Switches under the same plan, and it's 1 year all for all the Switches. But uh, they're gonna be that's the rumor. They're gonna be increasing the price, optional too, for that new tier to add these N64 titles. And as I was talking to Jesse, we were like, man, what are our five favorite N64 games that define the console for us growing up, and why we always blew on cartridges and stacked them onto the console
Man,
just to play for hours on end with no worry about time, no worry about batteries running out on your controller or anything like that.
no.
It was just
Oh,
pure bliss, no loading screens, like I said.
nope,
Um,
not at all.
so that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about our five favorite N64 titles, and of course, we hope that these titles will come onto the service. I highly doubt some of them will, but due to licensing fees. But that's what we're talking about today.
Beep,
Um,
beep, 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 beep. Nintendo, hear us now, please. These are the games we want on your service. Like, literally, it's going on. Like, literally going on here. Like, beep, beep, please, top 5 games. Like, yes, we would love them on this service. And actually, while we're talking about it, too, we'll go on maybe why a certain game will probably not be on the service.
yeah. So you want to start, Jesse, with your number five?
Ooh, you know what, Josh? I actually had a really hard time making this top 5. There was a lot
A
of
lot.
games that I play on the N64. It was one of those. It was one of those consoles that, again, I had a. I never had a huge collection, but I think I've spent the most hours with these games, like with N64 overall. And I've rented many a times from Blockbuster and from Hollywood Video back in the days. I would beg my parents to take me back then. It was so good. But for number 5, I have selected The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Oh, that's a good pick. That's one of my
That,
favorites too.
oh my goodness. It was actually the only Zelda game I ever owned myself here in the house. So I remember getting that cartridge, and it was a gold cartridge with that holographic
Yeah.
front.
Where it
Um,
was it was having like young Link moving kind of a
yeah.
bit with his swinging sword. It was cool.
Y- Yep. Oh my goodness. And now, um, I have played the previous game many a times before, and I usually borrowed it from friends. I never owned the game before that. Ocarina of Time, I didn't own it before, but my official one, Majora's Mask, was such a different Zelda game throughout, even different compared to the past Zelda games. Um, there was less dungeons. There was less dungeons in this one compared to the previous Zelda games before that, even from the first Zelda or Link to the Past. But each one of these were so fleshed out, and I actually really did love the Land of Termina a lot. The more compact feeling actually felt pretty awesome.
Yeah, and that was
Of
more like a Groundhog's Day game as well.
Yeah, it was. You had to complete everything in 3 days. Just kidding. No, you don't have to complete everything in 3 days right away. You obviously use the ocarina to reset time again, and you hold on to the items that you had when you go back in time or forward in time, the things that didn't come back with you was your money and any like perishable items like bombs and arrows. Um, except somehow the bank has your money, even though you go back in time. I don't know how they did that, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's like video game logic. Um, but from the boss battles from there, four temples. The it was the first one was the forest temple, then the snow head, and
Hmm.
then the water temple after that one, and then the final one was um the oh my god, I forgot the name of the last one, but it was
Wasn't it like a
with the
graveyard or
stone.
like a
It was
temple?
it was it was it was it was like it was like I think it was called the Stonehead Temple on that
Yeah.
one. Um, well, let me just
So ominous was the theme back then, because that game is like so dark and it's more
right.
relative to like death and the acceptance of death. And
Especially the final temple, which again I just double checked everything. Stone Tower Temple was
Stone
it.
Tower.
It was involving everything with death, and it was like the story of like the father that was like mummified and everything, and you had to set him free there. They're going through that curse, and then dude, you had a Zora die right in front of you in before the water temple. Like, remember the Zora where you get the mask to become the Zora? You take
Yeah.
his spirit. He died in front of you. He
It's a
literally
very
just died
dark
in front of
game.
you,
It's a very dark game
dude.
for a Zelda game.
Right? So, and it was
So
it was
depressing.
it was depressing, but you get all the emotions in that game when you actually help everyone do their quest. The biggest thing, if you just beat this game, just beat it straight up, just the temples, okay, you'll probably beat it in a shorter amount of time. But if you go for everything, if you go collect every mask and every item, oh my god, you're gonna have a blast doing the whole thing. And this was one of those games back in the day. Expansion pack required. You could not play this game without the expansion pack.
Yeah, one of the few games to require that towards the end of the life cycle of the N64.
Yeah. So yeah, Majora's Mask is the game that the Zelda game I owned, and the Zelda game that I love the most from N64, and that's why it is my number five, good sir.
Okay, okay. My number five is another smaller title, Turok, the Dinosaur Hunter.
Ooh, that's a
Uh,
good. That's a good one. That's also a good one.
I feel like this was the first true like first person shooter game that I played. Um,
Really
yeah,
nice.
and I loved Turok just for so many different aspects. Like it had like some space time theme to it, along with just dinosaurs. And you start off with like a knife, a bow, and with some arrows. And then you start getting into like the handgun, the shotgun, and it just keeps going on from there. And I'm like, as a kid, I was like maybe 7 or 8 when I first played this one, and it called out to me. I know we have the Turok fog to
Ooh,
explain why the N64 couldn't render distant
yeah.
trees and mountains and stuff like that. But for
The
me,
draw distance. Yeah.
yeah, the draw distance. But for me, man, as a kid, I love Turok, and the the unique animations that each enemy had when you killed them is something that I didn't realize until much later, because now this game is also available on any modern platform. So you can play it on the Switch, on Xbox One, Series X as well. PS4, PS5. They all have them available, and as soon as I heard about it, I got it on Switch, and I just was taken back to how it was N64 days, and I
Yep.
just love that game. He's fighting raptors with a shotgun. Like,
Ooh.
I
You
love
were scared.
Jurassic Park, and this was
Yeah.
like this was it. This was it for me. T Rex, raptors, and they also had other human enemies as well. But it's the dinosaurs that you were more scared of.
Yep. Oh, how scared were you when that first raptor was charging at you?
It took me by surprise. I was like, I
The
rented
first
this
one,
game.
dude.
I rented
The
this
first
game
one.
first, and I saw the box. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool, a blockbuster, and this is pretty cool. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how. Like, we didn't have internet back then, at least for me.
Yep.
And yeah, as soon as I played it, you get that intro with the iguana
Yep.
getting fired on, and I was like,
Zonks.
what
I
is
remember
this
that.
game? But I love Turok. This is one of my favorite games of all time, also. But on the N64, it was just a blast to play.
I still listen to the soundtrack to this day. I actually also bought Turok on the Switch and PC, and I actually still actively play that game. Turok 1 is a nostalgic, delicious cookie of goodness, man. Dude, Turok 1, oh my goodness. I have like many memories of that game too, but like you're going through it's called the whole level, it's called the Lost Land. It's a land where dinosaurs, technology, and everything just combines, which explains everything. Like as you're progressing to the levels, dinosaurs, and then humans, tribes, soldiers, then dinosaurs, and then in the future, and then like future levels later on, when you start getting close to the end, now you're getting like stegosaurus. That you're getting like stegosaurus looking things with machine guns now in their heads. Now the raptors have guns, and then you're fighting freaking triceratops with arm mounts, dude. Oh my god, I wholeheartedly agree with that pick. Turok is just wholehearted goodness. And just for the soundtrack alone, boom, 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 dun, 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 dun.
I
That
don't think
dude
I
is.
ever even focused on the soundtrack. I was just focused on what. Was that a raptor? Was that somebody that I heard?
Oh man, dude, the music just complements along with it, man. So I agree with that pick. Turok is still amazing till this day. I say everyone pick that up. And I think because of to go back on that, I think because it's available in that type of deal, I think this one definitely is not going to make the cut of the Switch online version.
Yeah, I highly
I
doubt
think
it.
so. I say I think. I could be wrong, but I think so.
Okay, that's my number four. My number five. What's your number four?
All right, good, good. So we're gonna stick to that first person shooter genre, and my number four is actually a version of Doom 64.
Oh, something that I recently played also, like two,
Yes,
3 weeks
and
ago.
yes, and I had it with the N64 controller back in the day. This was actually I had some taste of PC Doom
Hmm.
back then, but I never actually had a running PC to go with it. So Doom 64 is actually the first Doom I got into.
Okay, so it wasn't
So
even the first Doom.
no, 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 no. The first Doom was 1993. That was way the first Doom was way back then. So the first Doom was way back then. So Doom 64 was my actual first taste of Doom because I didn't have a high powered or I didn't have a PC to play regular Doom, Ultimate Doom or Doom 2.
Hmm.
Doom 64 was considered the low key Doom 3 or it should have been Doom 3, but they didn't call it that for some reason and then I think they just added the 64 moniker because that's what was hot at the time, 64.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm very into the creepy, evil, demonic looking crazy games. I'm very big into I don't know why. I'm very big into demons versus angels or I don't know. Like it's just something in me like horror, like the horror but at the same time religious battle. I don't know, the drawings and everything are just awesome. So Doom 64 was my first taste of Doom, and it actually is what made me a fan till this day of Doom Guy and all the adventures. So after playing this one, I ended up going back in time and playing the previous ones. Um, and all the creature designs were awesome, and the music in that one was so eerie. It wasn't like the heavy metal music they're used to doing with now. It's not like dun 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 dun. It wasn't like the stuff you hear now from Doom. It was a composer named Aubrey Hodges who made this creepy alien space like type of deal. And the story with this game is after Doom Guy saved everybody from Doom 2, which was when the demons invaded Earth, a radiation they decided to bombard the planet, the Deimos area, with nuclear missiles, and the nuclear missiles actually caused the radiation, and it caused them to have different designs and different mutations of the creatures, and then this creature known as the Mother Demon was the one that brought him back. So it's 32 levels of going through Earth, then going through like the beginning stages of hell, and then you're in hell. And the super shotgun, the BFG, big fucking gun, the plasma gun, the Unmaker, which was a weapon unique to that game in the past. My goodness, like Doom 64 is a shooting good time. Did you ever? So you barely played it like 2 weeks. You said 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I played it like three weeks ago, maybe a
Three
month
weeks
ago.
ago.
I played it on Xbox since it was available on there,
Dang.
and
What?
yeah, I like it. I never played it either. I thought Doom 64 was just like a port from the original Doom, and
No,
so I never touched
no.
it. And when I looked into it, I'm like, oh, this is actually its own game. And so I played it for like maybe I want to say an hour or two, and I liked what I played. It's really good.
Oh man, and I
It's
love,
just more
dude, I'm so
Doom.
happy to hear that. Yes, it's more Doom, and again, the art design, like it's its own entity, it's its own style, and that's what makes it unique. It was one of the first games that was actually not developed by the original with the original developer in mind. It's software. It was actually used by um I believe it was Midway helped create that game. And it's just Doom. It's just Doom goodness. If you bought Doom Eternal, it came free with it. If you bought Doom Eternal, it's now in the online
That's how
store.
I got it. Yeah.
There you go. It's also on the Game Pass, like how you mentioned, and it is the game that I consistently always get all of the achievements for. Like for every version of it. Like I just can't get enough of it. I play it on the highest difficulty, watch me die, and I always get the heart pacing every time. So yeah, definitely one in my solid books from N64 and for life.
Yeah, sounds like a good pick. Um,
Yes. What's your number four, good sir?
my number four is, I believe, the only no, it's my second game from Rare, a company that was huge for the N64 library. But my number four is Jet Force Gemini, a third-person
Ooh.
shooter. It was probably the early Halo for me. It was fighting alien bugs, ants to be more specific, and it has so much charm. It was so good. It was a four-player game that you can play, against each other. And I remember always picking the dog because he had a jetpack that he can use. But I love Jet Force Gemini. Jet Force Gemini is like the cartoon kid Saturday morning cartoon version of Halo, and that's how I've always described it. You're fighting aliens. You're fighting these bugs that I guess they're invading or trying to take over. Typical stuff. And it doesn't play as well as today just because of modern controls now. But it is also available on Rare Replay, so you can try that out. But I just remember playing, through the story mode and shooting these bugs. There was no blood; it was like guts. It was green, I guess, guts
Nice.
from the ants. And
Right, right.
I remember trying to save these koalas. The people that you're trying to save are like koala looking people, and they're just
Nice.
like jumping, like they look like they're almost doing jumping jacks. So
Like
so
mini
so you can
like
so you can try to save them and stuff like that.
like their version of Ewoks.
Yeah,
Right?
you know what? Ewoks would probably be better description for them, but instead
Yeah.
of just koalas. But
Right?
I love that game. I don't know if you've ever played it, but I remember playing this game when I had friends come over, four-player multiplayer. Um, it was just a good time, and it's made by Rare. And play it today. It's available on Rare Replay. That's why I don't think this one also will come onto the N64 online
Mm-hmm.
subscription because
I agree.
Microsoft owns Rare. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a great game for the N64. Did you ever play this one?
I played with it. I dabbled, but I never owned or had like a full experience with it. So this is something now I'm gonna jump into on Rare Replay again. I'm gonna give it another shot on that one. But by the way you're talking about, it sounds uh, Interesting. What is that name of that movie series that has the the bugs, like the giant bugs as like the enemies and the soldiers? I know it's like a very
Starship
popular series.
Troopers.
It looks like a Starship Troopers kind of thingy, right?
I mean, in a very Saturday morning cartoon type of way. So
Right?
not so much gore from a spider like stabbing somebody through the heart or anything, but
Agree, agree.
yeah, it's ant soldiers. So replace grunts from Halo with ants.
Nice. All right. So, but it's one of those that Rare was batting 100 back in the days with
Yeah,
Nintendo on the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. They were going nuts on that console.
Rare was the heart and soul of the N64 in my eyes. They just had classic after classic. It felt like they had at
They
least
couldn't
two games every year.
they couldn't miss back then.
No,
They everything was gold. I mean, to go back to Super Nintendo status, like all the Donkey Kong series, like that started off there, but then N64, stride after stride after stride after stride, like, dude, Rare, man, Rare was a champ.
yeah, that's my number four. We're at number three now for you.
Oof. All right, my number three.
We're getting harder on
Again,
these.
I know. All right, number three. I know this one's not going to be released on the Switch Online because there is a physical and a digital version of this already. So they're not going to put it on their online service to not sell. But Super Mario 64. It was my first ever Nintendo 64 game. I picked this over Pilot Wings.
The granddaddy of three-dimensional
Oh,
gaming.
the 3D platformer of 3D platformers that started it all. It's not the perfect one,
No,
but it's not the perfect one, but did it set the ground base? Yes. It
I even like that one. For someone
There
who
you
doesn't like
go.
Mario,
Like right
I'll put that one up. That's a good one.
again, I know I'm like a music connoisseur again. Maybe you've heard the podcast today or from past ones, but oh my goodness, every track from that game is a banger. Everything is so good about that game, and controlling Mario for the first time in 3D. That was the first time I was holding my controller using the analog stick, and that's where you had to learn about pressure a little bit so you can run. Don't pressure too much if you wanna walk, and like going around in the 3D space and seeing Bowser in his huge form, with the roar and with his roar and everything. Every level was awesome, and this was the first time that we were introduced. At least the first time I was introduced to the hub world style, where we were walking around Peach's castle.
Yeah.
So it's not like a level select; it's a hub world. Like you're in Peach's castle, and all the levels are in there. And collecting 120 stars was a joy. You didn't have to collect all 120 to beat the game. I believe you needed just like 75 to just beat the game if you wanted to rush through it.
Yeah.
But collecting everything, the lava level was awesome. The both snow levels were awesome. Dire Docks, Bomb Battlefield, the main theme of all the games.
Ba ba ba
Mario.
ba ba ba.
Bum, let's go. Like, dude. And this is actually the first time the voice actor, Charles Martinet, voiced well, I take that back. He actually voiced some of those like Mario teaches typing games.
Okay.
He voiced Mario for those games. That's where like his voice started coming iconic, but this is one of the games where you hear the like, oh my god, I'm giddy. Like I got the N64 in fourth grade. That was the first game I got. Everyone and their mother had this game. Like it's collecting everything. Wing cap, the vanish cap. Oh, the metal cap was the coolest cap.
For
Like it
Metal
was like
Mario.
yeah, like Metal Mario. But like Metal Mario was like the coolest design, which later on became like its own character. Um, oh my goodness, it was just so much. It was so much wholesome glory with collecting everything. And I would sit hours on that. And one of the biggest things that happened to me back then, my mom back then when I wasn't home, let someone else play my game in
No.
the house, and then guess what happened? My file was erased.
Wow, that's probably the worst thing. The
Oh my
worst thing that could
God.
happen.
And my mom just had, of course, she's not super into gaming, so she has no clue if this is important or not. But yes, it was, because I collected so much. Mama, no.
You know what? With today, if the internet goes out, that's an inconvenience. If the power goes out, that's an inconvenience. Your save file gets deleted.
Because
That's
someone had
just
to do it.
rude.
Why did you do that? Whoever the hell visited my house, I still have no idea who did it. And then I'm not on revenge mode or anything, but someone did it. And after that, my mom my mom never let anyone touch my consoles ever again unless I was there.
You know,
So no family members, no one can touch it unless I was there. Because man, I was so pissed off at that, so bad.
what I really liked about the Super Mario 64 was, like you mentioned, the hub world. It
Hmm.
kind of gave you a goal. Like you went into Peach's castle. You started from outside, and then you go into Peach's castle. You know, learning the camera and the movement. And then when you walk through the doors, there's other there's two levels that you can take the stairs up, or you can keep going to the doors that are on the first level. But one door has just a star, no numbers, but then the other ones have like maybe 10 stars on there, or 5 stars on the doors and stuff like that. And it kind of like gave you a goal or what to strive for, so that you're collecting the stars, and then you're like, you know what? Now it's time to go to the second level, to the, take the stairs up.
Right?
And
You
I
had
love
to.
that.
I remember that you had to. The doors were painted with their specific star number. Oh, this one needed three. This one needed one, and then the big star door. The like the first one ever was eight. Like that was the first time you faced the Bowser level,
Hmm.
and the freedom that you get to do in that game was also the best. You can just make the goal. You're done. You made it. You got your eight, or you can already just start collecting all the stars if you want. Um, you can collect the stars at whatever leisure you want. It was open ended. You can collect everything, or you can beat it in an hours. That's it. Like whatever you want to do. So that's a nice freedom of choice that game had back then.
Yeah, that was good. That's one of my favorite parts of that game.
Yes, man. Mario 64 cement that on the video games of all time. Revolutionary game at that time, but a beautiful Nintendo 64 game in my opinion. So, what is your number three?
My number three is another first-person shooter, made by Rare. Probably one of the most iconic entries for the N64, which is 007 GoldenEye, or GoldenEye 007.
Oh, so good.
And if you weren't around at this time playing N64, basically GoldenEye 007, in reference for today, was like the Fortnite of that era. Basically,
Oh.
everyone had a GoldenEye copy for that, 4 player
Hmm.
multiplayer, with so many customizations in terms of what you wanted to play. One of my favorites actually was paintball mode, just so you can see all the different colors when you're shooting it. That's what I like playing, and also it shows on the character. But you had big head mode, you had slappers only. There was one where
Cheats, baby.
there was one with the golden gun. Um, and you learned what I loved about that game is learning like the maps, and there was
Hmm.
secret, I guess, like invisible walls that you can
Hmm.
go through and hide. And so if somebody's coming by, you just come out and just start shooting at them and kill them. Um, that game was just, I have put so many hours. I think I only completed the campaign like once, and then there was like certain missions that I just loved replaying, like the one on the boat. I loved replaying that one.
Oh, that one had a great track too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, I remember the track, dude. It's
The
all in my
track,
head.
just like being in the menu, just that subtle. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. And then whenever you pick something, it was like a target, like a red target, and then pow, when you pick something, it was so awesome. They put so much love and attention to this movie tie-in game. It's probably one of the
Oh,
best movie tie-in games up there. You
I'll say
know,
it's the movie tie-in game, dude. This is like the one
yeah.
that made it popular. Like, yeah, this is. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this is the movie game of movie games.
And I just put so many hours with my cousins. Playing early Saturday mornings with the bazookas or
Ooh,
shotguns, stuff like that. It was just, and then you also had dual wielding AK-47s, dual wielding
dude.
every weapon. It was just landmines that trip mines that if somebody walked past they just blow up. It was just so good. Even the animation for when you died, it was like the 007, like the blood screen.
Da-da-da-da-da.
It was so good. I love that game. That's one of my favorite games to play. If somebody
Oh
were to
man.
ask me, hey, well, you got four controllers, an N64, and all the games. What do you want to play? I always pick GoldenEye 007. That's always up there with me.
Uh, Agree, sir. I agree wholeheartedly. I love the jungle mission. I love the train mission. The dam mission in the beginning was awesome. Oh my god, those hidden levels as Aztec. Ugh, Jaws was horrible. That was especially if you tried it on Double O. My goodness. But it was replayable so many times. It was actually one of the first shooters that actually incorporated missions. So no, you can't just shoot and destroy and kill everything like Doom. You actually have to escort this person or use this computer. Like it actually had missions. So you actually had to sometimes think for a second before you did anything. And it was one of those first games that did that. And this game made console shooters a thing. This game made console shooters like like top dog again. Like it like back then PC was like the FPS genre of choice, but N64 proved all that wrong with GoldenEye. I'm also gonna throw in a quick thing for Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was also very good. They call that the GoldenEye 2, but Perfect Dark was also good.
Yeah, that and also made
Yeah.
by Rare.
Yep. Again. Again.
So that's my third entry. We're on number two now. Our last two, the best ones that
Ooh.
we have. What's your number two?
Ooh. These last two are probably the ones that I've spent the most hours on. Of course, the other ones we spent a lot of hours on, but these like so many hours on it. Number two for me. I know some people would consider it more of a PlayStation game, but Resident Evil 2 on N64.
Yeah, I also look at it as more of a PlayStation 1 game, but I know they did wonders for
Excuse me,
that
PlayStation
port.
1, right? Sorry.
They did wonders with that port.
They, oh my goodness. First off, I used to play this game for PlayStation at my cousin's house because he was the one that had it before. Now you remember from the last episode, I gave high praise to Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 is also groundbreaking. I didn't have a PlayStation, so I didn't play it then. Played it at my cousin's house every once in a while. But when an N64 version was made, oh my goodness, did I jump on it fast. Like, I wanted it so bad. And I used to have a comparison about N64 and PlayStation games. Because there was like a bit of a difference because one uses the CD, one uses the cartridge, so it's different. I didn't know this as a kid, but it was space size, the amount of space they can put into it. My goodness, what a good port they put on the N64 version. They even included all the cutscenes, which I thought they were gonna do I thought they were gonna do little clipping or recordings because the limitations. We kept talking about the limitations, but no, they included all the cutscenes and all the voice acting, no load times, and it worked perfect. So I love Resident Evil 2 on N64. I have completed the Leon, Claire scenarios over and over and over again. Police station, the city, the sewers, the laboratory. Oh, it is as of right now my um very up there as like the best classic Resident Evil. Um, but so many memories with that one, and because it came out on N64, I was so stoked because I can play it for me. I can actually play it. Every boss battle, the alligator, William Birkin in his many forms, Leon with the submachine gun, Claire with the grenade launcher, with all the weapon types. And this was such a good, good, good game at the time. And it's one that's been in my N64 for so much time. And everything about it was just great. And if I haven't sung the praises enough about it, man, Resident Evil 2 on N64 is like, it's in my heart style, baby.
For those also listening, there's actually a really good video on YouTube from Digital Foundry. They did in-depth video on how they made Resident Evil 2 on N64 possible, and they go really in depth in terms of the audio files, the compressed, textures, and everything that they were able to put into one cartridge that had like a quarter, if not less, than what the PlayStation 1 was able to put on one disc. So I really love
Yeah.
that part. I know we're not really a technical uh, podcast, but I really love that aspect that they brought in terms of dissecting that port, because that port is very famous in the gaming landscape of stuff that shouldn't be playable and it's playable, and it's not just like, oh well, we got it to run, and even though it runs poorly, it's on there. No, it runs decent, it runs well on the N64. So I
Yeah.
would check that out. I would check that out. It's a good watch. I love their videos, and they did a really good video on the performance on Resident Evil 2. I don't have much experience with that version. I played the PS1 version with
Hmm.
my eyes closed because I couldn't see all the gore and stuff like that when I was younger. But later on, when I got a PS2, and I
Yeah.
I dived into that because I loved Resident Evil 1. For some reason, Resident Evil 1 was a classic for me, but Resident Evil 2 was
Mm.
always a lot more scarier for some reason. Maybe because it's the city, and uh,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that game was a lot scarier for me than Resident Evil 1. But that's a good pick.
Dude, the police station just by itself. Again, the tracks from again, all these things I listen most of these tracks I listen to on Spotify still because the soundtracks are uploaded. From the police station. The police station's still my favorite part of everything. It was this game's version of the it was this game's version of the mansion. If you're gonna use Resident Evil 1 as like the template,
Hmm.
like the mansion the police station replaced the mansion. So the police station itself, the reason why there was a bunch of artsy stuff and everything around is because it was actually a converted art museum. So it was an art museum, but then they turned it into a police station. That's why there's all these statues and the paintings. And then the basement was the scariest part of that one because that's where the dogs would come in, and um, that's where the dogs would come in, and the game would get a lot scary. And then there were so many different options. Like if you like, it had like future decision, like past decisions could affect your future gameplay. Like example, if you take a submachine gun from the basement, the other player's scenario B would not have the submachine gun, and vice versa. So sometimes you have to decide how you want to play the next version of the game um, if you were playing this. So there's so many ways to try different methods. There's so many different ways or methods to play this game. Resident Evil 2, and again, I'm actually gonna watch that video now because I didn't know there was a video about how they compressed everything, but dude, I want to watch it because I want to know what in the world they did to make it the size that it is, or to make it like how it was literally almost identical to the PlayStation. It was so good. So I know, man, I really jumbled up here with all this number two talk. Resident Evil 2, number two. So good. Big Josh, what is your number two game?
My number two is yet again another four-player game. N64 was known to have a lot of these party games, and this one I think by far is the best party game because anybody could play. My number two is Super Smash Brothers, the original Super Smash Brothers, the one that started it all. This game, so many hours with my cousins playing. I was always Link, always picked Link. Sometimes I dabbled with Samus or Captain. I was gonna say Captain America, Captain Falcon, but
Nice.
Super Smash Brothers. To this day, I play Super Smash Brothers. I play Ultimate, but to see how far that series has gone from just a handful of characters. They gave you I think like six or eight characters, and then there was four secret characters. One of them, being I think it was Jigglypuff and Ness. And I was like,
Yeah, it was.
"Who's Ness? I've never heard of Ness."
I
Uh,
think most people did not hear of Ness until Smash came, and then people looked at his little character bio and they're all like, "Earthbound? What's Earthbound?" They
yeah,
didn't know what it was.
but that this game is it's just a blast. Like I hope I really hope that Super Smash Brothers is on the Switch online service. Out of all the games that they that I have on my list, this is the game. I know Ultimate is way better in terms of performance and the amount of characters available, but Super Smash Brothers, so many mornings playing
Mm.
at 7 a.m. in the morning, turning it on, people picking Pikachu, Mario, Link, Fox. It was like that mashup that I didn't know that I wanted, and I just wanted more. I wanted, you know, the 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 specials that they had. Link would do his. You would press up B, for that third jump, but it was him swinging his sword around, just like he does in the
Right.
game. Mario with his fireballs, Pikachu
Hmm.
with the thunder. Everything was so cohesive. Everything was so good, and I feel like that's one of the most perfect games to play in a party of any age for anybody. And you can play with items on, items off. The stages that they had, a lot of the stages were moving also, like the Star Fox
Hmm.
stage, or when you were in
Ugh.
in the
With
Pokemon
the
stage.
where the different Pokemons used to come out of the doors.
Yeah, the Pokemon would come out of the garage doors.
Yep.
Sometimes you'd see like a flock of Pidgeys flying in the distance. It was just so good for the N64, and
Right.
one of the best party games. Four players. Sometimes if you didn't have other people, you can practice still. One
Hmm.
person versus the computer. They
Hmm.
had target stages. They had everything, and then also probably one of my favorite TV ads was the Super Smash Brothers with the song where it's people in those costumes, and it's all nice, and everyone's holding hands and walking together, and they just start beating each other up. One of my favorite games of all time. Did you have any memories on this one? Did you play this at all?
I never. This is another one that I never officially owned, but rented. But yeah, I have a lot of memories with Smash Brothers. I have with Smash Brothers the four-player action. I played the single player actually a lot too. I tried to beat it with like every single character, and you can only get so much out of the single player, but unlocking everybody was awesome. Luigi, it was Luigi, Jigglypuff, Captain Falcon, Ness was your unlockables. Started with eight. Believe it was eight characters that originally started with, and I was always a Mario or a Samus. Those are the two characters I like the most. Um, and then it's so iconic for like the second fight was always the gigantic Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
the big Donkey Kong, and then Metal Mario was one of like the mini boss characters before you fight the Master Hand, which has been the staple boss since then. Um, Smash Brothers introduced me to a lot of Nintendo characters that I didn't play as much. Because remember, I believe that's where I said I met Samus. That's where how I heard about Samus in the beginning. Like, who's Samus? And then you figure out about the Metroid games. And though the commercial, it's the iconic commercial of all time. Me, you, and me and you. And then they were going all over the place. They were going all over the place, and they just start fighting. And this was like the first time that you see something like that. It's like, oh my God, Jigglypuff is fighting here, or like you actually get to select Nintendo characters, and they're all gonna kick each other's butt. What? When does that happen? It's it was just a time. It was a great time to be alive for when it came out, man.
Yeah. So that's my second one. I feel like it was a solid party pick. I have a lot of party picks, but before we go on to our number ones, before we go
The
into
top game.
what
Hmm.
are our favorite N64 games, we do have an honorable mentions. We felt like there's so many classic games on the N64 library that I feel like these should have a mention as well.
It was
What's your
really
first honorable mention?
My first honorable mention is actually going to be Turok 2, Seeds of Evil is actually going to be my first honorable mention. Um, when everyone was playing Legend of Zelda, when everyone was playing some different games at that time, like Ocarina of Time or anything like that, I was playing Turok, and I ended up picking up Turok 2. It was a black cartridge. Loved it. I liked it better than I did like it better than the first one because it became like mission based. Not to put it like in the top five. If we had like a top 10, I would definitely add it on there. But Turok 2, I still play to this day on the PC and the Switch as well. Turok 2 is one that I did love for all the different weapons they had, and now the dinosaurs were like combining with humans at that time. They were turning into like raptor humanoid type monsters, but I love them, man. What's an honorable mention that you have, sir?
Mine would be Diddy Kong Racing. I didn't have any racing games on my top five, but um, I would definitely put Diddy Kong Racing above Mario Kart. I don't know if that's blasphemy. I kind of don't care, but
Uh, good that you don't care because I agree with you. Diddy Kong Racing over Mario Kart,
Diddy Kong Racing
left
was
and right.
so good. You had not only just carts, but you had plane and the hovercraft, the one that you would go on the waters. So
Mhm.
that I feel like was above Mario Kart. Mario Kart was just the cart, and
Yeah.
Diddy Kong Racing. Besides the Diddy Kong Racing, like the
Mhm.
front splash logo, it had a good single player. It had a good
Yes.
single player.
Adventure mode.
Yeah, for a racing game to have a good single player adventure mode, um, like we said earlier, Rare does not miss in this era.
No.
Rare was not missing
No.
at all. So a good adventure mode, so you can play by yourself, and it was a good game as is. And then when you would play with multiplayer, it was like some of the best tracks I remember. Just a cart or a plane or the hovercraft. It was just so good. And you know what? Nintendo finally copied Diddy Kong Racing years later when they introduced. I think it was Mario Kart 7, where your kart turns into a glider like the plane. It wasn't a plane, but it was a glider. And then they
As close.
did the hovering too. Your wheels would go into a hover mode on this anti gravity part of the track. So you can
Oh.
see that they got inspiration from Diddy Kong Racing, and then they made a port. So it's also available on DS if you still have a Nintendo DS. But that's that's one of mine.
And
Uh,
then that's nice. Like that's like one of those where like Diddy Kong Racing will look back at it with like a nose high in the ground. Oh, that's nice. I did that first, by the way.
we
Just saying.
started that.
Oh my god, and Wizpig, oh my god, what a terrible, horrible boss that was. He cheated every damn time. Dude, like it basically in the final boss of that game, if you didn't start off with the lead, you're done. It's over. Don't even try. Like you had to be in the lead from the beginning
Yeah.
because this big old fat pig all of a sudden has the most turbo of wheels, and then he's like hovering over you. Boom, 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 boom. He's just like huge, dude. Like you're facing off with Wizpig. That was the final boss. But dude, excellent honorable mention. I love that game too. That's
What
so good.
What's your next one?
All right, next honorable mention that I have to name, the Destroyer of Friendships, the board game of all board games, Mario Party. That Mario Party, stealing stars, mini games. I've destroyed many my hands on those rotating mini games. My God, my poor hands were were getting ruined with that game, and I
Everyone's
ruined
hands did.
I ruined an analog stick or two with that game. Dude, something the computer on the highest setting was so hard. Like, you'll never beat him. Like, it's a machine. And of course, little Jesse doesn't understand that it's a machine and it's gonna be harder to beat. So this was a game where, my God, did I have like thrown controllers and everything. That was man. And then in a party, dude, you were no longer my friend anymore if you stole the star from me. If you got Boo to come to me, if you picked me, you didn't pick a computer. Oof. That was
Fun fact about that game too. I believe Nintendo, if you wrote to Nintendo or requested it, that they'd send you a glove specifically to play Mario Party because the way you held that N64 Trident controller, you would start getting those blisters at the center of your palm, and
oh.
people complain like, "Oh, this is look at my hand." And Nintendo would send you a glove, a special glove, so that you can take care of your hand.
They did? I did not know that.
Yeah, they
That's a
did.
fun fact for me. But Mario Party, all Mario Parties are fantastic. 2 is also one I like, but Mario Party 1's the one that started everything for me. So um, great game in a party setting by yourself to unlock the maps. It's okay, but mostly for the mini games. But that's my honorable mention right there for Mario Party. What other honorable mention you got, good sir?
My last one would be Turok. My last one would actually be Star Fox 64. Uh,
Ooh, introduction of the Rumble Pack right there, baby.
Rumble Pack, introduction to Star Fox in general for me because I didn't play the Super Nintendo one, but
Mm.
Star Fox 64 was a great arcade style shooter. You're in a basically you stay in his spaceship, his R
Yep.
wing, and for those who've never heard of Star Fox, think of the X wings from Star Wars. Think of X wing, but that's his fighter jet, and you're just going through levels, shooting aliens that pop up, huge machines that are throwing like these metal pillars at your spaceship. Do a barrel roll, the famous line to deflect beams coming at you. It
Right.
was such a cool short. It's very short. You can probably beat it in like less than an hour if you know what you're doing. But it was a good on wheels arcade style. The ones that you play
Mhm.
at an arcade and it's moving for you and you just point and shoot.
Yep.
It's similar to that, but the graphics on there was amazing. It has different routes that you can take. So even within the level itself, if you find the secret, entrance to another area, you can go there, beat the
Mhm.
boss, and then it kind of, it opens up to I guess, the galaxy or the planets, and you're able to
Right.
go to a different planet depending on your route. So you can just go straight. Don't
Mhm.
don't go off the beaten path. Just go straight and complete the levels, and you can beat it that way, or you can try looking for the secret entrances and fighting secret bosses, and
Mhm.
till you get to the end, where you defeat you fight the main boss. But that one was a great single player mode. It also has a multiplayer mode. We
It
didn't
was
really,
okay.
yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
really play it as much. It was
Mhm.
okay. A lot of it was circling around each other,
Mhm.
just because it's airplanes or jets trying to
Mhm.
fight each other. But the single player portion, I love that one. Very short. Um, like I said, you can beat it in an hour. They made a port on the 3DS,
Mhm.
which they smoothed out the graphics. It's a lot prettier, but I hope that they do bring this one on the online service.
I think maybe they will, and I definitely love all the R wing missions. The like you said, the X wing looking ones, the R
Yeah,
wings. Wasn't a huge fan of the tank missions when you're on the
nah,
landmaster they call it, and then there's one underwater level that it dipped the frame rate so low back then. It was so slow. But if you had to play that level if you're going through the hard path. If you're going through because it had the three levels. It had the middle, which was regular, the bottom one was easier, and then the top was like the harder path.
Yeah.
And if you wanted the true ending, you had to go from the top path. You had to go from the harder path. If you go to the easier path, it's not the quote unquote real ending. But another classic right there, and introduced a lot of people to Star Fox on that one. I played the first one, but I didn't own it. But I owned 64, so that was my introduction on that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was my final one. Do you have a final honorable mention?
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw one quick one in there. It was just one that I rented all the time before we go to our number one games. But one that I rented all the time was I'm gonna put both of these together because it was almost the same game. One was just an updated one, Castlevania 64, and then Castlevania Legacy of Darkness. Um, the first attempts at a 64 Nintendo 64 version of Castlevania, their first attempt at 3D, uh, it was a bit of a miss in regards to like overall sales and everything, but it's like one of those that just lingers in the head for like the horror style of Dracula and the classic monsters. Their first attempt at 3D, and again, to me, the music itself saves this game more for me. Again, another soundtrack I hear on Spotify. Um, it was their first attempt. I was really intrigued by the castle design and the level and everything. Some people said it was really, really tough at certain parts. People were really mad at this one part where you were holding on to nitroglycerin and you can't jump or you can't fall because it was insta death if you did. So you actually had to slowly transport it. And if you touched like the clock gears or something as you're traveling through, dead. So it's one that I like. It's one that I rented a lot, and I hope it actually comes out on the 64 Switch because I would play it again if they released it out again.
Yeah, I'd play. I never played it, so that would definitely
Yeah,
be one that I would be interested in.
not a top tier Castlevania game. I'm not even gonna lie. It's not like oh my goodness. Like please play Symphony of the Night better if you had to pick between the two options. Symphony of the Night is still a superior game to it, but I would say just give it a shot, man, just for nostalgia value. And then absolutely the my biggest disappointment in Nintendo 64 life. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Superman 64.
Yeah. Don't
Ugh,
touch
that
that
was
one.
my
Don't bring that
don't
one.
don't touch it. Don't do it. I loved it because it was Superman, but then once I had it, man, I'm gonna throw that as in the don't play this game. This is the worst game of all time. But besides the crapola of the worst game, Josh, I'm gonna hand it to you. What is your top Nintendo 64 game? The one everyone's probably been waiting for.
My number one game, it may not be a surprise to many that know me very well, but my number one N64 game that I will always have, will always play, and will always want is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, the game that's regarded as one of the best games ever made. It has one of the best Metacritic scores on the site for those who
10 out of
care about
10,
it.
baby.
For those who care about it, but this game really changed the Legend of Zelda. It was the first 3D Zelda. It was the first Zelda where I played and I felt that instant like the graphics will never get better than this. It was the game that there's always a game that you're like, okay, that's next gen. That's next gen. And Mario wasn't that for me. It was the Legend of Zelda, and being able to play this game when I was 9 and go through it, and you're a kid. You start out as an outsider. Everybody in the village, has their own fairy, and you're the kid that doesn't have a fairy, and everyone treats you like the weirdo. Like, oh, look at this dude. He doesn't have a fairy. Like, don't talk to him. But with the events that were happening, you get your fairy, you get a companion, and you go on this adventure saving the world of Hyrule for how big it is. And you go through, a forest, you go through a volcano, you go through the ocean inside of a fish. and you just go on this big adventure, and just when you think you're done, just when you think you're towards the end, you're like, man, this was kind of short, but there was a lot to do. The game opens up even more so with like seven more temples, with a lot more
Oh,
side quests to do, a lot more characters to talk to. The music in this game, Zelda is very known for music and sound, and this is by far one of the most iconic soundtracks for the franchise, just because of how central. I mean, it's called Ocarina of Time, so there's a lot of songs that you play with the ocarina that are essential for further expansion of the game. So with swordplay, with being able to start with the Z targeting was basically you press a button and the camera automatically locks onto your enemy, and it just stays on the enemy, and that was crucial in the 3D era when everybody's trying to experiment, like, oh, now we're in 3D, how do we do this very well? And Ocarina of Time was that for me as a kid, playing through that, seeing the bosses. For a Boss Key podcast, this is one of the best bosses that I can remember playing as a kid, and it was truly terrifying. You're a little kid and you're fighting this huge dinosaur, and you're like, how am I gonna topple this guy? How am I gonna beat this boss?
right.
Or a huge spider. The first boss is a huge spider, and
Yep.
as someone terrified of spiders, I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this. It's a dark cave, but let's go. I have my slingshot and my little sword to stab you with. But Ocarina of Time was is timeless still. For me, it is the best N64 game. It still reaches my top 10 list of games of all time. That's how good this game is. And it was an instant classic for me growing up. Did you have any memories with my number one?
Yes, all of everything that you just said, collecting the golden scatulas to get the bigger wallets, to uh, the time travel back and forth. You need to go back in time, forward in time. My goodness, Shadow Temple, Spirit Temple, Forest Temple, Water Temple, Fire Temple, all bangers, like all good. The final level, the final back in Hyrule Castle, the beginning three levels, getting a horse. It was there was so much to do in that game. So I know I had my discussion how I loved Majora's Mask a little bit more, but I cannot deny what this game did. I can't deny what this game itself did for the Zelda franchise and the N64. I was rocking Turok 2 at the time, but my God, everyone was talking about this game at that time when it came out. It was the best, one of the best single player experiences you can have even in today's time. It's you can have a single player experience galore with collecting, beat it as fast as possible. You can have 20 hearts if you want. You can keep it in. Well, you're gonna get a heart piece after each boss anyway, so it's gonna extend a little bit. But you can even do it by the bare minimum or do it by more, whichever one you want. But Nintendo 64, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time is they're synonymous. They're together. Like if you've had an N64, how do you not play this game? Like
Yeah,
you
pretty
gotta
much.
play it. You how can you not? Like it must be added if you haven't. Like it's the N64 and this game, oh my goodness. If this game is not on the online Switch service, I'm gonna say what? Like what more do you need it to do? What hoops do you need this game to jump through? But I would know why they wouldn't put it on because they'll release it like in a combination pack with like classic Zeldas, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's like the only way they would not put it
Uh,
on there.
yeah, I think they would put it in a collection, but it's Nintendo, so they may not even know about their anniversary.
Come on, put this game on something. Everyone wants this. I mean, it's a top dog. It's the top Zelda game. It's a top N64 game. So I 1000% agree with you on a top pick like that.
Yeah. So that was my topic. What's your most ultimate pick for N64 games of all time?
Drum roll, please. No, I'm just kidding. No, no drum roll, nothing needed. It's all good. But
I was about to get my
this,
drum
there you
set
go.
out.
You're about to put it on right now. But my goodness. Okay, so how I said about Mario 64, how it revolutionized platformers at the time, my top game for N64 is Banjo-Kazooie because that game to me perfected the platformer genre.
I don't have
That
much.
was
I don't have much with that one.
Oh man, dude, Banjo-Kazooie is the platformer of platformers. It's the perfect amount of collection, the perfect amount of uh, the perfect amount of spacing, the perfect amount of levels. Like Banjo-Kazooie was my game that solidified me as a platformer that I loved the most. It was so much good action. Every level in there was so good. Mumbo's Mountain, Treasure Trove Cove, Clanker's Cavern, Bubblegloop Swamp, Breezy Peak, Gobi's Valley, Mad Monster Mansion, Rusty Bucket Bay, Click Clock Woods. And this game had the hub world of hub worlds, Gruntilda's lair. The Gruntilda was the main enemy. So the story of this game is Banjo and Kazooie are just hanging out with their sister Tootie, but Gruntilda is like an ugly, ugly witch. That it's one of those like the ugly witch story that wants to be beautiful, and they say she's not, and then she's gonna steal the beauty using a beauty stealing machine. So she kidnaps Banjo's sister, Tootie, which spears everything ahead. Banjo must now go get his sister from the clutches of Gruntilda. Her lair is the best hub world in the world. Like the level selection. Gruntilda's lair was its own beast altogether. So Peach's castle is like a little tiny like a cake. Gruntilda's lair is Woo. It was like the music would subtly change when you're visiting the waiting area of the next level. If you were underwater, the music suddenly changed. If you were doing anything else different, like they paid so much attention to detail. And then you can fly, you have invincibility, gold feathers, you shoot eggs as a projectile. Every boss, everything was so perfectly matched in this game. I collected everything from this game. I have started over and completed it. I got all 900 notes. I got all the jiggies every time. I maxed out my life gauge, and every time I enjoyed every single moment of that game. I spent so much. I even want to play it right now when I get my Xbox Series X. It's on Rare Replay. It is the up top of platformers. It is. I have so much. I think I can remember Rusty Bucket Bay was the worst level, the boat level. That was the one that was. Oh my God, the hardest puzzle pieces were in that level. It was right before the final one. It was right before the final level, the Click Clock Woods. But everything from everything from level design again, like I mentioned, collecting everything. Banjo, which originally started as a Diddy Kong Racing character, but then they gave him his own game after that. Banjo, I will play it over and over and over again. I think Banjo set a precedent for platformers of the future, and it was the one to me that perfected it. That it's such a great game to play at any time. Judging from everything I talked about, it's just one that everyone should try. Like give it a shot, man. And if you haven't played it that much, then I would suggest you give it a try too, my man. Throw it on the Xbox, man, and do it.
Yeah, that's also available on the Rare Replay. For anybody wondering how to play this number one game from Jesse's list, it's on Rare Replay.
Yes, please play this game. It's so good. If you want platforming, just here. I've never been so dead set on a platformer when I'm just talking about Banjo. Play this. Just do it. Like that's how confident I am in that game.
Okay.
Just play it. Maybe it doesn't have all the quality of life issues from today's era of gaming because this did come out in '98. It was back in the days. Um, but everything about this game is memorable to me. Banjo the Bear is fantastic. Kazooie, everything together. It just works. And it's the game I spent the most time with. And of course, all the reviews back then, IGN 9.6, GameSpot 9.5, GameStats 9.2, OneUp.com 9.2, Metacritic 23 out of 25. It is superior in that aspect. So if I get a Nintendo 64, I'm getting Banjo. And again, it's not gonna come out, I think, on Nintendo because it's on Microsoft.
Yeah, sounds like a good pick, a good final pick, something that I should definitely play when I get the time on Xbox, and
Yes.
most definitely download Rare Replay, because Rare Replay will be pretty much Rare Replay is a good chance that you'll find a really good N64 game on a modern console to be
Yes.
available.
Yes. Absolutely. It's so good. And if I didn't sound adamant enough, get that game. That is so good.
Yeah. So thank you everyone. That was the top, I guess, top 10 in a wait. Oh, Jesse,
What? What? Oh, dude.
did you hear that?
Oh my God, yes I do.
Okay, so everyone, uh, this is a new thing that we're going to be introducing as our weekly. I guess the way we end our segments, our show for the week, we have what we like to call the boss pick of the week. When you hear that boss, growl, laugh, whatever he's sounding like to you, that's your signal that it's the end of the show, and we are now going to be talking about one specific boss for the week of our choosing. It's either going to be me or Jesse. We're going to be alternating weeks, but this week I will be talking about my boss pick of the week, whether it be a memorable one for how good it was, how hard, difficult it was, something that we just could never beat as a kid growing up, or even now as an adult. Uh, that's what the segment is. My boss pick of the week is none other than Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid 1, dated back on PS1.
Ooh. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So, what makes this character or boss so memorable for me was all of the designs behind the mechanics of beating this guy. So, think of playing on a PS1, date yourself back 1997, 1998, CRT TVs. This guy basically would fight you, and during the fight, there'd be a small cutscene, and he'd be looking into your memory card, and basically if you had like a Konami game, like let's say Castlevania was the main one, he would say something like, in a very serious psychotic voice, like, you like Castlevania. And it was scary as a kid that this game was looking into your memory card of what you've played. Just imagine, like, oh, you've beaten Crash Bandicoot. Like, that type of
Dude.
style, it was crazy. Uh, Between, the memory card, on how creepy this dude looked. This guy looked like a diver, a scuba diver without the backpack, without the air tank. That's basically how this guy looked like. Um, and he had like this voice, like if he was underwater with a respirator or something like that. Super creepy, very using like psycho, what is it called, like kinetic, like kinesis type of
Tele
superpowers.
telekinesis, I think.
Telekinesis, there you go, thank you.
Yeah.
Throwing you chairs, throwing you stuff, that's in the little room that you were fighting him in. It was like an office, and
Hmm.
he look into your memory card. He'd start rumbling your controller, if you were playing the GameCube version. But also on the PS1, it would go black. Uh, Back when we would play on the CRT TVs, you would either
Hmm.
be like on video 3. That's channel 3 was that's for
Hmm.
playing video games or watching a movie,
Yep. True
and
that.
and it
Very
would go
true.
it would go all black, and it would just say Hideo on the top right 3 or something
Mhm.
like that, video 3, and you're like, wait, somebody messed up my AV cables. But it was the boss changing stuff on you. You had to like remove, disconnect your controller. Literally, you had to disconnect your controller and plug it in on player 2. To finally attack him, to do damage to this boss. But this boss battle for me was so memorable as a kid. Just it played with my emotions. It played with, is my TV making that go black? Why how does he
Yeah.
know my memory card? How does he know what I've been playing? Why do I have to switch over to number 2 controller to shoot this guy, to attack him?
Hmm.
And what a lot of people don't know, there's like portrait, there's picture frames up on the wall, and those are actual developers. Those are actual pictures of the people who worked on the game as well. I think there's one of
Well, I didn't
Hideo
know that.
Kojima. I think there's one of Hideo Kojima on there. Um, so
Wow.
this boss was so memorable for me and has stuck with me and has been one of my favorite boss battles growing up, just because, like I said, all the stuff that it did just to immerse you, and
Hmm.
the breaking of the fourth wall with the memory card. Like, just think of like him saying, "Oh, you like Crash Bandicoot? You
Oof.
just played Castlevania." It's creepy, man. Did you ever play? Do you have any memories of Psycho Mantis and what you went through?
Exactly everything that you just went to. It creeped me the heck out. I played it on the PlayStation and on the PC, but that was a very memorable boss itself for his voice, his iconic laugh, his iconic like you said, respirator type voice. And yeah, if you didn't know the trick, if you didn't switch your controller when the screen went black, you are gonna have a hard or impossible battle. He's basically reading your controller if you keep it on player one. So actually, fun fact, when it goes black, it actually says Hideo instead of video. So you see like a little Hideo thing. And when I first saw that, I was like, what the heck? Like what's going on? Like what's like what kind of thing was this? And uh but Psycho Mantis was just, and then just memorable because he wanted that wanted the challenge. And when he was controlling Meryl, and then you had to knock Meryl out to make sure like you don't kill her. You had to like knock her out. That was a thing because I believe like if you killed her, you game over, like you lost. So you knocked her out, and then you're fighting Psycho Mantis. Like right before that battle, you have Meryl like talking to you about making love to you and everything. That was memorable because she was like holding the gun up to you and come to me, and then you see Psycho Mantis from the back, and then Snake's going like what? Whoa, like he's shaking his head like he sees something there. Like he knows this is not Meryl, but he's shaking his head because he can't believe what he's seeing. And I remember that one part he goes, "Well, you don't like girls." Dude, so that is an excellent pack for a dang for a boss, man. Psycho Mantis was out there. That was so good. That's an excellent pick, man, for the first ever uh, boss pick. And this wouldn't be a Boss Geek podcast without a boss pick. So I love this. We're gonna keep doing this.
Yeah, man, that one was memorable. I felt like that one deserved to be my first mention for the pick. Um, but thank you for joining us this week. Thank you everybody who made it all the way to the end. We
Oof.
loved making the list. It was a great time this week. Just thinking about games that we think about and we remember sitting on the couch or on a chair or even on the floor playing N64 with, it could have been by ourselves or with family or friends. And
Mm-hmm.
I know many of you guys who listen, you guys have those memories, those uh, memories back of just simpler times, plugging in a controller and no loading times, just no internet either, just you and the
Nope.
game, just you and the game, or you and a brother, sister, cousin, friend, dad, mom, whoever it was that sat next to you while you played
Yep.
those favorite games that, at the time you may have thought like, yeah, this is a good game, but 10, 15, 20 years later, you're like, man, those were the best of times
Yep.
growing up.
No need to update, no need to do anything. You were just sitting in front of your CRT TV in the light or in the dark, whatever, and it was just all you, and everything that was in that cartridge is already in the game. Like everything you need is right then and there. So simpler times before wireless, before everything else. It was just such a good time. And if you haven't gotten it from this podcast, if you made it all the way to the end, you can see that we both love the Nintendo 64. And probably a lot of people listening today definitely probably had an N64 or have played it. So I want to know, what is your favorite games, if it's something different from our list, or maybe one of our games from our list really piqued your interest, or if you have a memory about a game from N64, go for it. I just want to hear everything about this console. It's a beauty.
It's one of my favorite consoles, and I do hope that this rumor actually is true. I
Yep.
don't mind paying extra because
Hmm.
if like I said, if they have the library there, it it's definitely worth that money, and just to go back to play some of our classics, whether it be Star Fox,
Hmm.
whether it be hopefully Banjo, um,
Hmm.
just any of those classics. It make it worth our while. And maybe a new generation would sit down and wherever they're at and play this on the go, or play it on the living room TV with
So good.
family that haven't seen that game in years.
Updated to HD, of course. Updated to HD and able to play on all our TVs and everything. So it would be it would be awesome. And probably the next thing after this, an N64 classic's coming out.
I hope so.
And that thing is gonna sell like hotcakes. That thing is gonna go off like the reservation. So good. I'm getting one for dang sure.
Well, thank you again for joining us this week. Like Jesse said, let us know what your favorite memory is, favorite game, whatever it may be that was on the N64. Put it down in the comment section. Uh, Send us a tweet. You can find me on Twitter, McQuack306. Let me
Yep.
know what you thought of the show. Jesse, where can they find you at?
Yep. They can find me at Jesse underscore Fergoso, JESSIE underscore FRAGOSO, part of the Boss Key podcast. I'm there as well. Love to hear any N64 memories you guys have as well. It's always a blast to talk about this console and um, the games you love. You can even tell me the games you really didn't love, and maybe we'll both have a match on why the heck this game didn't work, and we'll agree or disagree. But N64 games all over around. Great times in everyone, and I'm very thankful in my life that this console was introduced to us.
Yes, same here. And also, PSA, we should be live either this episode or for sure next episode on Spotify, at least on Spotify right now. We're working right now for
Yes, yes,
Apple
yes.
and Google, but our goal is for this episode to be the first episode to be broadcasted onto Spotify. So we've been listening to your guys' requests. So hopefully with this
Hmm.
one, this is going to be the first one. So with that being said, thank you again for joining us, and we're out.
We are out. Everyone, peace. Play some N64 games if you can, but everyone, peace.